I've always been a fan of motorsports, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, go-karts, motorcycles. About 3 years ago, I decided that I was going to buy my first motorcycle, street bike, what some may call a crotch rocket. I took the class here at a local community college, completed it. A couple days later, I got my endorsement on my license. Then I decided 2 weeks later I was going to go pick out a motorcycle. Found one on the showroom floor that I just adored. Signed the paperwork for it. Came back 4 days later, my sister and I, to pick it up. She got one, I got one, matching bikes, same color and everything. We were excited. We rode them from Albemarle, North Carolina to Greensboro, which is about an hour and a half. We get all the way back to Greensboro and we stop at a gas station. Well, I never thought about the fact that you can't take off on a bike in second gear from a stop position. And if you do so, make sure your handlebars are straight. So I decided I'm going to do the opposite. Try to take off out of second gear and my handlebars were turned all the way to the left. So what happens? The bike cuts off in the middle of traffic, and because the handlebars are turned, it hits the ground. I have traffic backed up all the way down the street. Can't pick up this motorcycle because it's 350 pounds, and I'm 150 pounds soaking wet. My sister's already took off and gone down the highway because she thinks I'm behind her and has no way of knowing that I'm not. So needless to say, I'm in a dilemma. A gentleman comes from the bus stop and helps me pick the bike up, and he pushes it into an adjacent parking lot and tells me to let it sit for a while so it'll crank in about 10 or 15 minutes. I jump back on the bike after that for round two, hoping it doesn't happen again, and I'm off. Needless to say, the point here is never take off on a motorcycle in second gear. Definitely never try to take off on a motorcycle in second gear with your handlebars turned all the way to the left. And if you do, be prepared for the bike to hit the ground. Thank you.
I have an experience that I'd like to share with you. I remember I just had my baby. She was about 7 months old. And it was about time for me to go back to work. And I'd been breastfeeding, and we had such a strong connection. I loved the breastfeeding. But 7 months, it's time to go back to work for 8 hours. And so for 8 hours, without breastfeeding, my breasts were engorged and sore. And finally, when I finished work, I just couldn't drive home soon enough. And I grabbed my baby, and the first time I started, the milk was actually spraying out and got all over my baby's face. She was choking. It was just because the breast was just so ready to release the milk. So I moved over to the other side and was finally found relief. And that's my breastfeeding story.